All right, this is the next episode of True Wrestling Fan Discussions, continuing our retro pay-per-view review series. This is going to be WCW Bash of the Beach 1997. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank. Man, let's get into it. This is the 1 year anniversary of the New World Order. Dusty, Tony, and Bobby made sure people heard knew this a bunch of times during the pay-per-view, as they did their usual thing of talking about the main event during other people's matches, which kind of takes away from the match itself. Because this card, believe it or not, was not that bad. This was a decent card.
Yeah, it was all right. It wasn't bad.
I love the Mexican 6-man tag match. You know, they Bobby just lost all control. He goes, "Who's legal? I don't know. It doesn't matter," because it just got totally out of control. So here we go, July 13th, 1997, from Daytona Beach, Florida. 7,851 on hand, but it sounded like more than 40,000 on hand when Dennis Rodman got in the ring and actually did a move that shocked Hogan and Savage. So here we go. Opening match was kind of like playing Mortal Kombat. You had Glacier and Ernest the Cat Miller versus Mortis and Wrath.
Yeah.
Oh boy, the match itself wasn't bad. Matter of fact, we had Mike Tenay joining the commentary team. He did it for several matches. This was one of them. Believe it or not, Mortis and Wrath did a couple of pretty impressive double team moves, such as the power bomb neck breaker and the reverse Boston Crab with the second turnbuckle leg drop. These guys actually did pretty good here.
No, I mean, Chris Kanyon was always a good wrestler.
Yes, he was, just given a shitty gimmick to start with.
Yeah. The undefeated Glacier. Undefeated.
Oh, God.
Glacier. And then they mentioned the history again. These guys have, a history. Like, well, what history is that?
It could have fooled me. I don't know. And then, of course, Ernest Miller coming over from kickboxing to wrestling. He still looked green in this match. You can see it. There were quite a few miscues in this match from Ernest Miller. The beginning of the bout, Miller going off the top rope, kicking Wrath. He almost landed awkwardly. He almost broke his ankle. He could have been out of the match. Luckily, he didn't hurt himself. What was funny though is the ref is distracted as Wrath is holding a chair to Glacier's head and Mortis super kicking him on the post. Several times during this pay-per-view, referees are just turning a blind eye, like, "What? I saw that."
Glacier could have, Glacier could have won the match.
Yeah.
What was the guy's name? The manager? I forgot his name.
Oh, Vandenberg.
Yeah, he interfered.
Yes, a couple of times. He got on the apron. Glacier had him, super kicked him. Then Mortis, super kicks Glacier, and they get the pin. So Wrath and Mortis get the victory. Glacier and Ernest Miller are going home with the, as Gorilla Monsoon would say, the short end of the purse.
Yeah. And they said, "Oh, this is Glacier's first loss." I'm like, it's a tag match. Does that really count?
Well, if he got pinned, yeah, I would. If he wasn't pinned, then
yeah, but it's a tag match. I mean, I guess it's his first technical loss, but I mean, I look at singles like it's two separate things to me. Like,
well, yeah, because now how you have AEW right now, they break it down into singles matches, tag matches, trio matches. So you'll see 3 different records for somebody. So they may be undefeated as a singles wrestler, but maybe 0-2 as a tag.
Yeah, that makes sense though. To me, that makes sense. So,
and I hate to say that I like something that AEW does, but I like the fact that they do put the records out there. It's a good thing WWE doesn't do it because then Miz is 1-23, so we wouldn't want to see that. So our next match on the card was for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. Lionheart, Chris Jericho defending the title against the Ultimate Dragon, whatever you want to call him. No Sonny Ono. He's not with them anymore. This was another match that was pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, it was a great match
from these two guys. And I mean, and once again, Mike Tenay doing the commentary because he's adamant. He's with the Lucha Libres and the Cruiserweights especially. Very informative. This guy. I always liked. I wish they would have just kept him on the commentary team and got Dusty the hell off of the commentary team. There's only so much plunder you could hear during a match. But this was pretty impressive. Jericho went for his double underhook powerbomb, which was technically called the Tiger Driver. Dragon reversed it into Hurricanrana, which Jericho reversed into a pin, and Jericho got the victory. There was a moment during the match where they did a move that kind of looked a little shady, but again, Ultimo Dragon was fine. He didn't get hurt. They shook hands after the match, which was pretty impressive, but these guys let it all out there, and this was another match that I was really impressed by.
This is babyface Jericho in WCW.
Before Ralphus and everything else. Hey, you can't blame Jericho in WCW. He looked at it like, okay, I don't want to stay here. I want to go to WWE. I'm going to do everything I can to make Vince look my way. And because Bischoff's not paying attention, in about a year or so, and Jericho had to take matters into his own hands to make himself relevant. I mean, hats off to him because there's not too many people that could do that and be successful with it. So following that match, Mean Gene came out. Of course, he's talking about his hotline. There's people backstage that don't belong here. Possibly one of them is DDP's partner. I'm like,
Scheme
man,
Gene.
quit shaking down the damn crowd and everything with this number, bro. I mean, come on. You're not gonna, and I guarantee you're not gonna find out one person
No.
that's backstage. Even though occasionally Shawn Michaels would be there, but that was after WrestleMania 14. He would show up to see Hall and Nash. They'd let him in the back, but that was about it. He, in fact, actually goes to ringside to interview Raven and Stevie Richards. Well, as soon as Stevie Richards started talking, Raven beat his ass down, which was
No,
he was
no.
good for. But this was the start of Raven being in WCW.
Mm.
I did, in fact, like his run in WCW. I thought he was underutilized in WWE. And then, of course, his career in WCW, I'm sorry, ECW speaks for itself. So that was a pretty good thing. And then they said that Richardson was telling him, "Hey, why don't you tell everybody what you know about tomorrow night?" And that's when Raven beat him down. So Stevie Richards talks too much. That's why he did right to censor. So our next match on the card was actually a little swerve for the Steiner brothers. Now they signed a contract expecting to be going for the World Tag Team titles. What they didn't expect was Masahiro Chono and the
Yep.
Great Muta. This match was average to me, only because we didn't get the tag team title match we
Yeah,
wanted.
that's the
And
only problem.
yeah, the match itself was all right. Scott Steiner hit the Frankensteiner on Muta. Rick went for the pin. Of course, Chono's pulling on the referee. Total chaos there. And then they did Steiner's at a top rope DDT and a pin, and the Steiner brothers get the win. So now they really are the number one
Yep.
contenders for the titles if they weren't already. So pretty much Hall and Nash are dodging them at this point. So our next match on the card, once again, Mike Tenay joins us in commentary because it is the Lucha six-man tag team match. Juventud Guerrera, Hector Garza, and Liz Mark Jr. Against La Parca, Psychosis, and Villano 4. Okay. It was hard for me to keep up with this match like Bobby Heenan because there was action all over the place. It was an amazing match. All the high flying stuff. And we even get Villano 5 coming down. What happened to 1, 2, and 3? I don't know. But Villano 5 comes down, interferes in the match, tries to get the pin from him. It backfires. And Garza, with a standing backflip on him, gets the pin. And Juventud Guerrero's team wins. But again, this was a pretty impressive matchup. And at one point, La Parca was not getting along with his teammates. There's a little discrepancy there, especially with Sonny Ono at ringside. Sonny Ono now all of a sudden, managing him. And Sonny Ono trying to get involved, accidentally hit him. And Mike Tenay then was saying, well, I guess this is going to be a short-lived relationship between the two of them. I don't know about you, but I like Sonny Ono.
Sonny was good. No, he was good.
But especially when he smiles, takes the pictures. It was just classic. It was good. They had a good thing with him there. Our next match on the card, and I'm gonna, give me a couple of minutes on this one. It was a retirement match, career-ending match, whatever you want to call it. No disqualification, anything goes. Anytime you have one of these matches, there needs to be not only a huge build-up to the match, but it needs to be at least a 20-minute match to where you know that these guys left it all out there for one of them to be going away permanently. WWE was infamous for it. Savage and Warrior went 20+ minutes. Perfect and Flair had done it. Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Flair and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. This one was only 13 minutes against Chris Benoit and Kevin Sullivan. I think the match needed to be a little longer for the build-up that one of these guys is going away. Yeah. And not only that, you got a 2-on-1 handicap match.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, it was a different kind of match. It wasn't a regular straight up wrestling match. It was more of a
No, this
street
was
fight,
anything
right?
that, yeah, they could do anything they
Yeah, so I
wanted.
mean, what are you gonna do? You're gonna have like a street fight for 20 something minutes? So I guess it makes more sense for them just to have it like the way they had it. I thought it was
That
fine for what it was. It was very brutal. It was very physical. It looked real. You know, they were working very stiff. So
yeah,
for what it was, I thought it was fine.
Jacqueline getting involved
Hmm.
constantly. Jimmy Hart getting thrown off the lifeguard tower was
Yeah.
awesome.
I think this is right before Jacqueline takes off to
Yes.
WWF, I think.
Mhm. And, of course, we've seen this a dozen times. Jacqueline gets a chair, brings it into the ring. Sullivan wants it. She said, no, I want to hit him. We know where we're going with this. And
Yeah,
she hit Sullivan with it.
that's it.
Benoit with the flying head drop. Benoit beats Sullivan. Sullivan's career is now officially over. But with him, it was winding down with injuries anyway.
Well, he was doing a lot. He was booking at the time, so it was a little bit too much
Yeah.
for him. So that's why he just basically transitioned to the backstage role.
Which he didn't do too bad of a job. But with that, I did like the fact at the end of this match, Jimmy Hart starts chastising him.
Hmm.
You blew it, blah blah blah. Sullivan pushes him, and off he goes. That's just
So yeah,
typical of the storyline. Our next match on the card was your favorite of the night
oh Jesus
for the
Christ.
United States Championship. Jeff Jarrett defending the title against Steve Mongo McMichael.
He broke 6,000 guitars, never drew a dime. And when Jeff Jarrett came out, you get a rat piss on cotton. This was, if you remember, the fallout of him getting kicked out of the Four Horsemen.
Yes.
Flair had just
Yep.
kicked him out, which didn't even make any sense because Flair kicked him out for no reason. Like
Flair put him
Flair,
in for no reason.
he put him in, and then I remember he fought Conan on Nitro, and then Flair helped him beat Conan, and then Flair just kicks him out, and then they didn't even like beat his ass. They just said, "All right, you're out of here." And then Deborah said something to him, and then he just walked. He just left. He didn't even get a beat down. Usually, when you get kicked out of a faction, they throw you a beating. That makes at least you get some
Yeah.
heat. But like it was like a fart in church. Like nobody cared.
Nobody did.
Nobody cared.
And when he came down, they started cheering him. Then they were like, "Oh, wait a minute, we forgot who's
Yeah.
coming down.
Then
Never
he's there.
mind."
Remember, Mongo's the one who had beef with him the whole time. He never wanted him in the Horsemen. So these two, they have their match, and Mongo's not a great wrestler, so it just wasn't.
And he made his debut 1 year ago at this
Yeah,
event.
this was just a stinker. I
It,
thought it was a
it, it
stinker.
was until Deborah did what she did,
Yeah,
giving Jarrett the
Queen Deborah,
Halliburton,
Queen Deborah.
Queen Deborah, giving him the Halliburton briefcase, whatever. Hits Mongo twice with it. And on top of that, Jarrett doing his finishing move twice on him.
Yeah,
Mongo's finish of the 3-point stance. Then hits him with the Halliburton and pins him and gets the victory. And
but
Deborah leaves with Jarrett.
he lives with Jarrett. Yeah, I mean, I always like seeing Deborah, but the thing
Yeah.
is, I thought he was gonna go into a feud with Flair, and I don't think he does. I mean, I haven't seen this stuff in years. I think because he leaves in '97, he goes back to WWF. So
WWE.
I don't know what the hell that they were doing. I
Uh,
because I don't think he ends up doing a program with. I mean, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I don't remember them going into a program.
I don't remember a Jarrett Flair match in WCW.
Was that's what it looked
I
like?
don't.
That's where it looked like it was going when Flair kicks him out. Because then
It
he
needed
tells
to
him, "You
be.
loaded the gun." I think I'm paraphrasing here. Jarrett says something like, "You loaded the gun" or something like that. Anyway,
It's
moving
Jeff
on.
Jarrett.
Yeah. Well, nobody cared. I'm just saying,
Nobody
like,
cares.
but make it make sense. Anyway, moving on.
Exactly.
Moving on.
So the next segment they had and I'm not even going to go with Mean Gene coming back out begging people for money for his 900 number, but they had the vignette with the NWO,
Mhm.
Hollywood Hogan and Dennis Rodman. That was awesome.
Rodzilla. Yeah.
Rod the
Rod the
Bod.
Bod. Yeah.
It was awesome. Look, him and Karl Malone, believe it or not, could do it.
I mean,
And
these are great athletes, you know.
exactly. And believe it or not, Rodman, and I'll get to the main event in a little bit. When he stood toe to toe with the Giant, you're like, damn, he's about the same height as him.
Well, because the wrestlers lie about their heights. That's why.
Yeah,
Rodman is about 6'7", 6'8". I think he's around. He's in that range.
I think he had lifts in his thing because he looks 7 foot at this point. He probably had something in the boots, but it was a good promo. Getting ready for the main event. Our next match on the card was another good one. It was Diamond Dallas Page and a mystery partner
Yeah.
versus one half of the tag team champion Scott Hall, where he's bringing out both belts, and the Macho Man Randy
Macho
Savage.
Man.
Now we all know, well, it's well documented. The Savage Page
Mhm.
feud for 1997 was tremendous, but the person he picked to be Page picking to be his partner was making his WCW in ring
Yep.
debut, Kurt Hennig.
Kurt Hennig. Yeah.
And like I love what Kimberly said at the end, you picked a stupid partner. You're damn right. You did. Of all the
Well,
people,
not on
this is
paper
what.
though. I mean, not on
No,
paper.
not on paper. Just, you look at this match, and the first thing I thought of when Kurt Hennig got in the ring, especially with Scott Hall, was 1993. And Scott Hall looks at him and goes, "You haven't changed a bit." When he spit the gum at him, and I'm like, I'm remembering Survivor Series,
Yeah.
Savage and his
Henning was
teaming with Razor, and then 1992, the two of them fighting in the tag team match, just
Henning
brought
was
it all back.
Yeah, but Henning, I mean, at least here he wasn't really the same. He was older. He was,
No, he lost a step.
a little heavy.
Yeah,
a little heavier than usual.
He was a second or two slower than he normally was. But then again, so was Savage, so was Hall.
Yeah, but those guys were active though. I mean, so
true. Henning hadn't really wrestled.
It's been a while, 3 years maybe.
Yeah, no, at least maybe more than that, unless he did some independent stuff. But I mean,
it was like
in 1997, he was doing the quote unquote manager thing with Helmsley and the feud with Mero, and then he left.
Well, that was the end of '96, yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is '97. So it had been when was the last time he wrestled? 90, was it 93?
93, yeah, probably a house show or something.
Yeah, because 94 he never wrestled in 94. He came back with Mr. Perfect at WrestleMania. They were supposed to go into a feud, and I don't know, maybe his black flared up, whatever. No, so he doesn't. It's been a while. It's been a while, yeah.
So I mean, like I said, lost a step or two, but still was okay in the ring. Was good.
It was all right.
To see him. Yeah. Didn't get a big crowd reaction because it's not like
he's not Mr. Perfect though. Big. He's not Mr. Perfect. That's the problem. You took away the gimmick,
and I guarantee people were kind of hoping it was Sting, because at this point they're just looking for Sting, and he's nowhere to be found. Up in the rafters, whatever the case is. So when they saw Kurt Hennig, they're like, "Oh, okay, you brought him in."
I was glad to see him back, though.
I was glad to see him back in the ring wrestling to see what he could do. And again, the match wasn't bad. They did botch the Savage throwing him into the ropes, and Page was hiding onto the rope. Hennig didn't catch it right to fall completely over.
It's probably rusty.
And then he hits Page and takes off.
Yeah.
Page gets the outsider edge and then the elbow drop, which Savage concentrated he focused the elbow drop on the injured ribs of Page, not the neck and head where he normally would hit you. And the arrogant pin on Page, and the NWO wins this match while Hennig is looking on from the stage. So, and like I said, Kimberly said, you just picked a stupid partner.
Yeah, because when does he joins the NWO?
Right after he accepts the Four Horsemen invite and then turns on them. Because that's when you remember the Horsemen did the my spot, your spot, live a spot, any spot, my spot.
Then he joins the Wolfpack, and then he betrays the Wolfpack a year later.
He's just betraying everybody.
Anyway, before I forget, man, I love the way Bash of the Beach looks. I love the ramp.
I love
not the ramp, the entranceway, I should say. The setup, the way they have the sand, the design, and everything. I mean, when I used to play WCW versus NWO Revenge, I used to always pick up Bash of the Beach Arena. That was
Halloween
Havoc. Yeah.
Yes.
That's the thing about WCW I love. They had the unique pay-per-view entrances, entranceways.
And even though they got more successful as it went on, they kept it.
Yeah.
Doing that. Not so much towards the end, but they actually kept that, and that was something that was, like you said, unique about them. Yeah. I did love the Beach Blast and Bash of the Beach setups. So our next match on the card is something we've seen 1,000 times, so why not do it one more? Roddy Piper, the Icon, versus the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Yeah, this is where the Icon talk is.
Was he the first? I can't remember. Was he the first one to say it, or was it Sean? It was.
I think I want to say it was Piper, and then Sean bit off.
And then Sean bit off, right? I think I could be wrong, but I think it was.
Well, maybe Hogan was the first one to say it. It was one of the three of them.
And then
this whole Cornette, Icon thing.
Jim Cornette cut that promo that was like,
oh, I love that. You got this one calling themselves an icon, one, and this one. And then he said, let me explain to you exactly what an icon is. And he laid it all out, and they're like, damn, no, not three of them are in it.
He had the Icon shirt on.
Yes.
I always liked the Reality Check shirt. That's the one that I really liked.
Oh, yeah. And, of course, he's doing this because he feels Hollywood Hogan is dodging him. He wants a title shot. He feels if he wins this match, he gets the title shot. I mean, these guys are friends 1 minute, teaming together. They're feuding the next. I loved it.
Yeah.
And the match itself, believe it or not, as up in
It was a good
age that
match.
these two are,
Yeah.
it was good.
They were really, really close friends. That's probably why the match
Yes.
was good too. They knew each other really well. They trusted
Hmm.
each other.
Oh
Flair,
yeah.
Flair did a good job. Piper, this is probably is one of his better matches in his WCW run, I would say, if not his
Yes.
best match. And I can't remember off the
Absolutely.
top of my head, but it was
No, I would say that this one. The only thing that took away a little bit was
NWO.
the Horseman
Oh, the
coming
Horseman.
down.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the Horseman interference.
Benoit and Mongo
Yeah,
coming
yeah, yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah.
Benoit missing, hitting Flair with the headbutt.
Didn't think it was necessary.
No, I think this should have been a straight up
Hmm.
thing because remember they both got the figure four leg locks on each other. Reversed it. Piper puts him to sleep. The referee was, I don't know about you, but he was hysterical to me. He was like a little kid here. When they're going back and forth hitting each other, the referee's in the corner doing this.
Hmm.
I don't know if you saw that. And I'm like, who is this Joker? I'm like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, he
I'm
got
like,
caught up. He got caught up in the moment. I don't know.
apparently and then he got all excited when Piper made Flair submit the hand dropped, and he's doing,
Hmm.
hurry, doing all that. We're like, dude, we got it. The bell's ringing. Relax. Get off the Red Bull. And Roddy Piper wins the match, and that's when Dusty said maybe now Hollywood Hogan will grant him that title
Hmm.
shot. They're gonna grant him a title shot, but it's not gonna matter. He ain't gonna win it. So that is what it is. So that leads us now to our main event. It is Lex Luger and the Giant versus the WCW World Heavyweight Champion Hollywood Hogan and Rod the Bod Dennis Rodman. Now, remember, it was 2 years ago we saw Rodman at Bash at the Beach.
Hmm.
So this is an ongoing thing for him. I've always loved his NWO vignette. He goes, "This is just something I do when I'm bored."
Yeah.
I
He
love
fit.
that.
He fit right in with them. He fit right in with them. He was good
Oh
friends with
yeah,
Hogan, so Hogan was able to bring him back.
it was
Yeah, it
awesome.
was good. The Chicago Nitro was crazy with the limousines with all the NWO
Oh
members,
yeah,
the cigars and everything. It was really good that the Giant, this is that's the time where he's not in the NWO because he had gotten kicked out
this is the
at the end
first
of
time.
yeah, he had got getting kicked out. I think end of '96. I think he gets kicked out because he won World War III, right? I think he was trying to get his title shot. I remember he was trying to get
Yeah,
his title shot, and then he didn't choke slam he didn't choke slam Piper. He defied Hogan. He's like, "You dropped the ball, man. Strike one and two." He's like, and then three, and he slaps him, and then remember he grabs him. He grabs him by the neck, and he's like, "Oh no, brother, no, no." He's like, "Dude, I got my title shot." He's like, "Yeah, yeah." All you gotta do is ask. He's like, "Get over!" And then they did. That was great. So
it
he's not in
was
the NWO,
not at this point.
and so he's going
Will be
against.
again.
He's with Luger.
Yep, and you got Savage at ringside,
Yeah.
acting as the manager here, acting a little crazy too. Um, I don't know about you, but like I said earlier, 7,000 fans sounded like 40,000 when Rodman did the hip toss on Luger. And Hogan and Savage went nuts. Like, whoa, he just
Hmm.
did that. Rodman handled himself in the ring,
The
even with
crowd,
the
man.
Giant.
The
Oh,
crowd
the
went
crowd was into it.
bananas with that arm was the arm drag. Yeah, the crowd went just crazy, man.
Oh, yeah. They went nuts when he had the boot up in Giant's face in
Yeah,
the
he
corner.
was over, man.
Of
NWO was
course,
over. Robin was over.
yep. Hogan being arrogant as he is, going, I got to get in here with this guy.
Yeah,
Come on. And you pulled me. Hogan, just get your ass kicked and let's go.
yeah.
Come on. And sure enough, the match went back and forth. And then, of course, Sting. Of course, they say Sting's come to the ringside.
They have a fake Sting that comes out, but he's got a mask on. Like he's not. It's not even paint. He's got a mask, and
And,
they're
and
trying
the
to tell
announcers are
us
telling you it's Sting.
it's Sting, and I'm like, come on, man. Like, dude, you got to do better than this.
We're not stupid here. This isn't like that one pay per view we did where Barry Windham comes out and you swear to God he was somebody else. Come on here.
Yeah.
Don't insult our intelligence. This is not Sting.
Um,
Matter of fact, I was kind of hoping the real Sting would show up to prove them wrong. But during Hogan, during the match again, Hogan hits the leg drop on Luger, does the arrogant pin, and it doesn't work. That's when the other Sting came down. Rodman now holding Luger. Hogan accidentally hits Rodman. Here we
mhm.
go. Luger puts Hogan in the torture rack and gets him to tap out.
Yep.
Now, to me, that makes Luger the number one contender, not Piper, only because Luger just made the champion submit. Regardless
Yeah.
if it was a tag team match, you made him submit. You should be in line for that title. And then, of course, he didn't
He
stop there
eventually.
because after that he puts
Yeah.
Rodman in the torture rack, and then Savage in the torture rack. He's just going and going and going.
But Luger does get the title shot and he wins. He beats Hogan.
Yes.
There was a Nitro that the famous Nitro where Luger beats him for the title and then he loses it like a couple weeks later at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, because Hogan had to be the man, whatever. But I mean, Luger showed his dominance here. The Giant looked good. Rodman looked great in the ring. Hogan was Hogan. I mean, and of course the BS thing. But all in all, this Bash at the Beach was pretty impressive considering what we've had in the past. Had a decent card, 1 year anniversary of the NWO,
Mm-hmm.
and
And
so
WCW is doing really well at this point. Summer '97,
they're
on
murdering
fire,
WWF at this
WWF is on
point.
fire, yeah.
Because you look at July '97 and you compare it and go, okay, this is what they're doing. We got a Canadian Stampede 10-man tag match at an In Your House over there. So if you compare the two, it's hands down Bash at the Beach wins this one. Sorry to say. I mean, even though that was, the Hart's had a great main event.
That was an epic main event, though.
It was, but I mean,
main event.
The rest of the card was crap.
Yeah, they were.
Unfortunately,
at the time.
Compare main events, WWE wins.
Well, just overall. I mean, look at '97.
Overall, I think WCW had that.
WCW was winning. Yeah, obviously.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's our episode. Let us know what you think. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care.